Meeting of Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. If you would join us in a moment of silence by standing in a moment of reflection and remembrance, please. Thank you. Mr. Vasquez, if you can please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Ms. Gurkin? Mrs. Barwick?
Here.
Here. We're now going to section 1.03 and 1.04. Today, Kaiser Elementary will recite the Pledge of Allegiance and our TPS mission and vision. Those would you like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please do so. Thank you so much. I'd like to request a motion to adopt the February 27, 2024 board agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. If not, any discussion? If not, Mr. Gant, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Gurkin?
Yes.
Ms. Barwick?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes. At this time, we'll go to section 2, which is our presentations, and I'll turn this over to Ms. Mazer.
Name is okay. Tonight, in honor of Black History Month, we have Janine Williams with us, and she will sing the Black National Anthem. If everyone would please stand.
Testing, testing. Okay. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you, Janine. That was beautiful. In continuing Black History Month. As you might know, the first we celebrated Crystal Ellis Day. That the board passed a resolution last year, not or making the first Friday of every February Crystal Ellis Day. I have a video that we had produced that was taken when Mr. Ellis was at Glenwood Elementary that day. You may have also seen the news coverage and the ABC story, the Channel 13 story, went national, and the story itself ran in 39 different markets across the country, different ABC stations. If we would have paid for the 1,041,154 possible reach in those audiences, it would have been $225,000. The real we were seeing, I didn't touch it. The wonderful thing about it was we were able to see some of the comments that came back from the social media and the websites of those stations, and they were from alumni seeing Mr. Ellis, or just the general public saying, wow, what an amazing educator, what an amazing tribute. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody got to see the video that we produced.
Dr. Ellis has been a mentor to many, whether you were the superintendent or assistant superintendent or just a principal for that matter. I came through TPS, and the superintendent at that time was Dr. Crystal Ellis. And so to be able to be in a position that once was held by someone that ultimately was a trailblazer. This year we're celebrating 175th anniversary, so it speaks volume of us setting the pathway for those that came behind him. And so it's just exciting to be able to bring this to fruition. Last year we appreciate the board supporting the idea that every month, the first Friday of February, Black History Month, we would celebrate Dr. Crystal Ellis.
I'm not sure I can tell you what it means to me. It's been great to have worked with children. You tell them how proud of them and what it means to spend my life helping them with their life. And those are the kind of messages the kids need. Don't think about it. Do something about it. And do it right. It's your life. Make it good.
His work as a legacy within itself, not only just a trailblazer, but at the end of the day, this was our way of just honoring him and recognizing him. And coming soon, we'll be doing an unveiling of a building that will have his name as a legacy as well.
My name is Crystal Ellis, and I'm TPS proud.
That just makes me happy. So I wanted to make sure everybody got to see that. It is now up on our website, and it has been on social media and has picked up great traction. And again, people just thanking Mr. Ellis for all of his work. Our next presentation comes from Ms. Tanika Harris, and she is the Policy Council Chair for the Head Start program. And she recently traveled to Washington, D.C. to learn more about parent advocacy. So she's here tonight to tell us about her trip to Washington and her the things she learned on Capitol Hill.
Good evening. Good evening. I am Tanika Harris, your Toledo Head Start Policy Chairman and am Parent Ambassador. And I have been through a journey with this. I became back involved with Head Start due to a situation with my daughter that caused me to be legal guardian for my grandchildren, where two of them have went through the Head Start program. One is currently in the first grade, and the last one that only took 1 year, and she's in kindergarten now. And it was all different because here I am thinking I'm almost empty nesting, and my son, who became salutatorian at St. John's as well, he's my last one. So I'm like, oh Lord, how am I going to do this? So the story and the journey began. I had to get them registered in school, and luckily my alma mater, Robinson High School, right around the corner still. So I went there and trying to get my daughter to get back, custody and everything. And she was being a little rebellious and stubborn, didn't want to participate with children's services so we can get this thing going. So I had a young lady, look, I have to look at my notes to make sure I get their titles right. I had a great family support partner, Missy Sosa, who's present. She offered me to come out to family engagement nights and everything, and I was talking to the children's service person. I was like, well, since we can't get her to come downtown, because her thing was, I don't want to see my kids and then leave and they cry and do all this stuff. So she agreed that it would be okay. So that began our home visits, or counting as home visits and things like that, for us to get our case, completely done, and where I'm still legal guardian until they're 18, but I have to make sure they get their education. So I went ahead and got involved in family engagement nights. My daughter came out and she did complete what she needed to do for me to at least get custody and not have to send them out. Along with that, Ms. Isosa also invited me to join the Policy Council. So I did that, where I met Ms. Nicole Shatterly, who's also present, which is my family engagement coordinator, and I became chair. Didn't expect to go there and do that, but I did. So the journey continued, and she, I guess, was just like, okay, I think you'll do good at this. And of course, I don't know, I know if I can do this. So she talked me into trying it out. And if I didn't, if my application was approved, then I could be a part of the Parent Ambassador Group, in which the application passed and went through, and I became a Parent Ambassador. It's where I ended up meeting the Director of Operation, Miss Amanda Yancey. And with her, I met another group, and now I consider them brothers and sisters, extended brothers and sisters. We are a great support system to one another, and we keep each other uplifted, supported, and I think we have really been grateful for Head Start reaching out to the community and having as many resource partners as they have to keep the families together. I'm trying not to do what I said I was going to do, but try to build the families to make better communities and better students, and it works, and it has worked. So we go on to Washington, D.C. I've never been there, because I've always had a big family, probably just couldn't afford it or get the scheduling right or whatnot, but I was able to take the trip. And the tour was amazing, the people were amazing, it was just amazing to see that it's really an organization that's spread all abroad. And to meet different people with like minds, and you come together and create questions and answer questions and kind of piggyback off each other, and then to be able to go into the senators' offices. We were privileged to go into Senator Sherrod Brown's office, where we were able to tell our stories. And like I said, I really think we had a lot of coverage as far as the community resources and partners and the different things, the different challenges for the children to go through to learn their developmental skills, emotional skills. And my Dior, Lord Jesus, that little girl, she is amazing. And she didn't take the 2 years real hard like her brother did. He went before her, and he was older than her. So she would always tell him, you need to do better in Head Start, because when I get to Head Start, you need to be gone because you got to go to kindergarten. So, and she was sassy, and she taught us as a family to learn how to talk about it. And she got that from Missy Sosa. And one day she used it on Missy Sosa. When she told her something, she said, well, you told me to talk about it, so let's talk about it. So she learned that, and she brought it home with us. So I just thank God for the opportunity and the experiences, and the communication and just learning how to continue to advocate and be there for young women and children and mothers that are transitioning in life. And now I have more leadership advocacy skills and more preparedness on being able to give them the proper resources or the different places they can go. And then the Head Start locator. That has been my best friend lately because people have been calling and asking where they can go, you know, for their schooling, or if their daycare doesn't offer, you know, Head Start, they can call me and I can just type it in Head Start locator and I feel important because I can tell them, you know, well, you can go to this location or that one, and I've been using it. And so I just ask that you all will continue to support and offer the parents in, because you never know what someone may be going through. And to hear it from them firsthand is the best way. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Now we have Linda Bringman. She's going to talk about the district's involvement at the 6th Annual Northwest Ohio School Fair.
Good evening, and I am really happy to give an update regarding attending the Northwest Ohio School Fair. We received this opportunity to attend the school fair, and it was held at the Toledo Zoo. Now, there was limited space for this event. There were 55 schools there, but TPS was able to secure 17 tables at this event. And I'll tell you that 17 is not a lot when you, out of 55. However, TPS dominated this event. We were there, we presented very well. It says there, out of the 55 schools, they had over 650 people who were there. It was very steady, attending the event and making sure to stop at each one of our tables. I'll say that I do appreciate that our superintendent attended, Mr. Bob Vasquez attended. This was a very busy day for Toledo Public Schools, as we also had another event that same day, the Minority Youth event, and I know that many of you attended the Minority Youth event as well. I did not see other schools who had that representation, so we do appreciate that. We also had a state representative there, Derek Marin, who was there, and he was very impressed. I know that he spoke with Dr. Durant and stopped at all of our tables. And Dr. Durant, I believe you offered him an airplane ride, and he was very impressed regarding the school, so thank you for that. So when I got to the event that morning, we made sure that we attended very early. They said we could start setting up at 8:30 in the morning. We were there at 8:15 ready to set up. No other schools were there. So we took advantage of that opportunity. We went there. It was set up kind of like a T. So you had an aisle and then you had the end area. And the organizer said, I recommend you guys split up. Set up throughout the fair. That way you can be well represented. We kind of thought about it and we took a different route. So we set up, if you went in the hallway, there were tables that were facing directly out. We took those tables. So you saw as you walked in every single high school there with our TPS tablecloths and our other merchandise events, and we really capitalized on that. And then if you went down the long hallway, we had all of our elementary magnet schools represented there. So just strength and force there. Many of our schools attended. Teachers were there in strong force. We had students who were also presenting. Each school had a presentation. They had merchandise from their school that they passed out information regarding their school. We had parents and students stopping and asking questions, which was wonderful. We were able to give information about what we have to offer here at TPS, not only at that school, but district-wide. Our health clinics. We have nurses in our school buildings. We have community partners who support us. At our student and community engagement table, we were able to direct parents, hey, this might be a good school for your child. They had questions regarding that. As you see, many of our teachers were very supportive. The administrators were in great force. I know that we had parents asking, why should we come to TPS? I had a parent who stopped and said, I would like a school for my child who wanted a more diverse school. So we gave them some options. The student was in 5th grade. This mother only wanted her child to go to 6th grade and then was going to send her child to a parochial school. I went up to that mother and I said, here's some options for elementary in your area that would be great options, and we'd love to have you talk to the administrator. But I would be remiss if I didn't take you over to our high school areas to show you the wonderful offerings that they have to offer your child in a high school level. So I did make sure to take them over to our technical college, early college, aeronautical college. And so they did have the opportunity to talk to those schools as well. I did have, as soon as I came back from this event, the very next day, Bridget Henderson from Student Data, which they were a wonderful help. They gave us information on how to register. We passed that out. Came to me, was so excited. She said, I had 2 parents call me today, and they had attended the school fair and want to know how they can enroll their child. We had our teachers. What I was so impressed by was our administrators and our teachers and how energetic they were. And I think it was Mr. Vasquez who said some of these other schools who came really weren't there to recruit. We were there to recruit. We had our teachers dancing. The administrators were out going, talking to people, and just very energetic. Virtual school. I had a parent who said that she was looking for an option for her child for a virtual school and didn't realize that we had our virtual academy. I was able to take that parent over to that school. We had collaboration with our community partners. As you saw in that last picture, we did have a hub director who was there to support, and some other community supports as well. But I guess the big takeaway there was it was very beneficial to attend this event. The number of people that we were able to reach, the contacts that we made, and that we showed that TPS has so much to offer as a public school district, and we're proud to be a public school district. Any questions? Yeah. Great, thank you.
Okay, our last presenters, or presentations tonight, I should say, will be to recognize our retirees. And I know we have some of our retirees here with us tonight. If, as I call your name, if you're here, if you could please go up and shake hands and come around the horseshoe. And then I have a certificate here for you. We have Suzanne Rodriguez. She is a food service worker 2 at Spring Elementary. She's retiring with 26 years and 10 months of service. Susan Martin, secondary school cashier at Start High School, 27 years and 6 months of service. Clark L. Brooks, CCSE teacher at Waite with 31 years of service. Denise K. Brown, math instructional coach at Walbridge with 33 years of service. Deborah J. Cornett, kindergarten teacher at Whittier with 35 years of service. Mary C. Barger, grade 1 teacher at Whittier Elementary with 38 years. And last but not least, Mr. Dale Price. math teacher at Toledo Technology Academy of Engineering, 40 years of service. That's total for 231 years and 3 months of service to Toledo Public Schools.
Can we get pictures with the retirees, please?
We'll now turn it over to Mr. Ramirez. Thank you, sir. No representation from TFT or ASME, so now we will go to section 5, which is our comments by the board, and we'll begin with Mrs. Varway.
Yes, thank you very much. So I want to do just a round of thank yous. First to Kaiser Elementary students for the pledge and the mission and vision. Again, I love seeing our students being able to participate in our board meetings. They're after hours, so it's such a convenient way for them to participate. And it's just, it makes me shine, right? A little bit that we're all TPS proud, and I love that they are as well. Thank you to Janine Williams. I know she's gone already, but beautiful rendition. Thank you. I, as a board member, and am utterly honored to be able to celebrate Dr. Ellis. He's one of my favorite people in this district, and just to always, when you run into him, he's always got a smile on his face, and just to have that energy that he does at his age, I hope to achieve that at some point. So always honored to celebrate him. And then Tamika Harris, thank you for your service, first and foremost. I started my journey becoming a board member as a parent, so FYI, just saying, putting that little bug out there for you. But thank you, because what you do matters. It's important that we have our parents and our grandparents involved in our district. It means a great deal, so thank you. I also, Ms. Brignan, thank you so much for sharing with us about the school fair. It's important that our district is represented and represented well. Obviously, everybody knows that we are the truest school choice there is. And it was interesting to see Representative Marin standing so close to TPS, because I think that's probably the closest he's ever been. But you know what? I'm thrilled that maybe he's agreed to finally see the light and visit us. So, got a little pepper, just saying. So, the other thing is it's Public Education Week, and the one thing that I do want to promote is about the TPS Fine and Performing Arts Fairs, festivals that are coming up. I certainly hope everybody gets a chance to get out there and visit our schools. We have some phenomenal artists in our district. We shine every year, so please, if you get a chance, visit I think it's on our website as well as out on social media, and you can visit some of the fairs. And then a big thank you to our educators, and I know they probably already left the building, but we could not do what we do without what they do for us in this district. 231 years of service is incredible. So a round of applause for them. Thank you. Thank you. And then I'm going to start what's called the more you know. So it's a little tidbit I'm going to do at each board meeting, and hopefully my board members will follow suit. A little tidbit today is, did you know a family of 4 in the state of Ohio making $54,000 a year does not qualify for free and reduced lunch? But a family making $150,000 qualifies for a voucher that gives them $6,000 to $8,000 of unaccounted for and not monitored taxpayer dollars. The more you know.
Mic drop. Thank you, Mrs. Rowley. Mrs. Gerken.
Thank you. It's pretty common that when we have retirees or we're looking back on people with a long legacy at TPS that I end up reflecting on my service at TPS. I started as a young secretary in 1979, and what I'm wondering about now is how much longer things will come before us that I'll even know, that I'll remember, or that will still be in that time period. It's like now, you know, Dr. Ellis, he was the principal at Leverett when I was a secretary at Woodward, at the same time that Mr. Price was a math teacher at Woodward. And what I remember Mr. Ellis, you know, coming over to Woodward because that's his feeder school, and he, you know, he treated his kids all the way through high school. He made sure he showed up for them, and he was always very kind and kind to me as a secretary. He took me seriously, and that wasn't always something that was happening back then. And so my reflection today is, how about it? If you weren't taking me seriously back then, maybe you can now. I would like to also thank the district for being involved with the school choice fair and school fair, because as Mrs. Varwig reminds us time and time again, TPS is the best choice and public schools are the best choice, and we need to protect the taxpayers' investment in public schools by rejecting all of the outside attacks on the funding known as school vouchers going to non-public schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. President. I first would like to start by saying Happy Black History Month. And Black History is 365 days a year, not just for this month. So continue to learn, celebrate, and support and uplift Black culture, Black people, and fight against racism and bigotry that is happening across the country. It's been a rough week in the education space for those who have not heard of the news about a student in Oklahoma. Their name was Nex Benedict. Unfortunately, due to violence that was empowered by state officials, rhetoric about anti-LGBT, really anti-trans laws in Oklahoma, that student lost their life. And we have so many students who are leaving and families leaving Ohio because of the same type of rhetoric and transphobia, homophobia, racism, and bigotry, even in our state house. So once again, I always call to action for our community to learn more and do more. We cannot keep having bystanders allyship. It is harming our kids. And it is making families not feel welcome, seen, or heard in Ohio. So please look into the bills that are coming out. Reach out to your state representatives and say Ohio is home for everyone. I will leave on a positive note, though. I want to give a couple shout outs. Yes, I said shout outs, period. I want to say her name is either Rihanna or Rihanna Davis from Scott. She has made it to the States for indoor track for the second time. So amazing, kudos to you. And also Bowser Wrestling Team for finishing second in the city. That is amazing that our students are not going and excelling at an academically, but also in other sports and activities that is promoting our school districts as well. Ms. Harris, thank you so much for taking up space. And I can hear your passion and I'm all for it. And representing us, and I know so well, in Washington, D.C., and I look forward to hearing more reports from you as you travel across the country, because I'm going to speak out to it, across the country, doing what you do best, and that's loving your family and advocating for them. I want to say also, it is always so inspirational to see Dr. Crystal Ellis speak. But I want you to understand the significance of this moment to tie our Black history past, present, and the future. To hear the words that Dr. Durant said, like you was watching him, I want you to know that you are Black history because we have babies watching you. Bambino, my 10-year-old, is already talking about he's Dr. Durant, so I might be in trouble. So I just want to always make sure we celebrate those who are still with us, remember those who are no longer with us, and celebrate and uplift those who are in the trenches now, making sure we have equity in education. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
Ma'am.
I'm sorry. I really did want to mention also my kudos to Ms. Harris from Policy Council. For a time, I was the board's representative to Policy Council in the Head Start Committee, and I really miss that. And I can just say that this is the second time that we've met a chair from Policy Council that, as Ms. Varwig said, really should continue to consider ways to up the ante and be involved. And, you know, when we're thinking like who should be a board member, it's been twice now that I've met someone from Policy Council that I honestly believe should be considering things like that. Policy Council is no joke. And when you bring families in to advocate and be there for their children's education early and often, then it shows and it sticks all the way through the grades when it comes to all the way to boosters in high school, right? So thank you again, and please keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Mr. President. My comments, I want to compliment Ms. Harris. I was so impressed, that presentation. I was very impressed. And, you know, the things that you talked about advocating in the Washington, D.C. offices of our senators and representatives, all of us have had the opportunity to do that. It is so impactful and so meaningful. And I agree with you, when you're there at the hub of government, it's really impressive. So I'm glad you got the chance. I can't think of any better representative we could have going there. I'm just really, really impressed. So keep it up, okay? So thank you for that. The other thing I want to talk about is the school fair. As Ms. Brinkman had mentioned, I went to the school fair. And what I was impressed with so much is the strategy that our people had. It was obvious that they were strategic about where they took their tables, placed their tables, all of that. When I went in, I went down and looked at one hallway, and I actually thought it was a TPS event, because all the way down the hallway were large things that were billboards and things that were up. And then I turned and went down another hallway, and the same thing happened. So when you came in, your eye was directed to both of those kinds of things. It was very strategic. I want to thank Ms. Mazur. I want to thank Linda Brinkman. They were there. They were all over it. But I also want to thank our staff. We would be very proud of our staff. Mr. Ramirez, we had a lot of administrative people there on a Saturday morning, okay, early. You know, we had counselors there. We had principals there. And also want to congratulate Mr. Dalton for his teachers that were there. And as Ms. Brinkman said, the obvious thing, and Ms. Farr, you'd appreciate this, the obvious thing when we talk about recruitment is that when when you go to those kinds of things, you set up all of your stuff and you can sit there and wait for people to come to you. Our staff didn't do that. They were out in front of the tables. They were interactive. They were trying to let people know all of the options that we have. Dr. Duran, I'm going to say that you do a great job of that presentation that you do about all of our choices. Ms. Brinkman, Ms. Mazur, and our staff put it into action. I mean, they had a table for every single choice that we had, and our staff were enthusiastic. And I'm going to tell you again, Mr. Ramirez, your members, very proud of your members. Saturday morning, I mean, I don't know what they get or what they do, you know, or get in to do that, but they were there. They showed up, and same thing with our teachers. So Mr. Dalton, the same way, can be very proud. The other thing is that Dr. Durant, you can also be very proud of all of our staff. They did a fantastic job. I certainly was TPS proud while I was there. It was overwhelming. I don't know if that exactly was the purpose of the event, but I think the event was really so that we could show what we have. That's the way it turned out. So if they're going to have it again, we'll be happy to participate also. The other thing is, so to move on, I want to talk a little bit about Dr. Ellis. Dr. Ellis is the kind of, and I think other people mentioned it, he's just a gentleman. He's just a gentleman through and through. That's just who he is. That's just the way he operates. It's the way he holds himself. The thing about Dr. Ellis, for me, in the middle of some really, really tough times when I first became a board member, and it was really, really hard. I had to make some really tough decisions. My phone rang at work. I picked it up, and it was Dr. Ellis. And at first I was just kind of surprised, like, what happened? Something must have happened. And he just went on to say, he just wanted to check to see if I was okay. which I appreciated. And he said, you know, it's hard. And it's hard to be a leader. And he said, just keep doing the right thing and you'll be all right. And he said, I'm just checking to make sure you're okay. Boy, did I appreciate that. It was kind of a lonely time. And to hear from Dr. Ellis, and to even think I was on his radar. I didn't even think he knew what was going on, but he knows everything that's going on. The other thing I want to say is congratulations to Dr. Durant. He made a presentation in Dallas just this last weekend. It was a great presentation. And you know how he is when he makes those presentations. Everybody in that room wanted to go talk to you, you know, just run up and talk to you after your presentation because they wanted to know more. The interesting thing, and I think you noted this probably too, that there were other school systems there that surround us that were wanting to listen to what we're doing. I was a little bit thinking, nah, keep that to ourselves. But anyway, so that was a great presentation, Dr. Durant, and congratulations. We all have reasons to be TPS proud. Mr. President, the presentations of the people that we have here are impressive. Our staff, they're impressive. It's everything for us to be TPS proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I just want to say that as we have begun this month to celebrate the diversity of our district through the acknowledgement of Black History Month, I want to say to Ms. Harris, who I know personally, so I'll just be professional. Ms. Harris, you have always had a heart to serve. And so I want to say personally, thank you for your yes to serve. We believe that parent engagement is the foundation of successful students. And so you have 3 parents that are on this board that start off as parents and board members. So I'm gonna sound like a needle on a broken record that, you know, we need people like you that have a heart and desire for student-based decisions. And so thank you so much for all that you continue to do. Ms. Williams, Janine Williams, did an excellent rendition of our Black History song, national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and I was really impressed with her as well. Crystal Ellis Day. It was so amazing to be there and to share and to see Mr. Ellis, who I quote saying 91 and still having fun. And it was just so amazing to be in his presence and to be around that wealth of knowledge that when he spoke, those students were so attentive to every word that he said. And just being a part of that moment, I had on a sweater that had an R on it. And they were like, "What's that mean? Is that from Rogers? Where is that from?" And I was like, "That's really from Rydell High, from Greece." But I made it Rogers that day. And so it was just great really being able to share and be in that moment as well. Ms. Brinkman, thank you so much for that presentation of how TPS really is the ultimate school choice, as Ms. Barwick shared so many times. And we are doing it, we're showing it through action, and that's what's drawing people and bringing attention to what we're doing, because we're consistently doing what we need to do to make public education matter. As we celebrate public education this week, I celebrate all of my colleagues, and thank you for all that you do personally for the fight of public education. Ms. Varwig was in COSPA this week, and she kept sharing this wonderful presentation that was going on to the point where I wanted to know the book of the author, and it was just so amazing. And so I got it on Kindle, and I started reading it, and I said, listen, our board members need to read this as well. So at your desk is the book, Promoting Racial Literacy in Schools, and really having a better understanding of how we must combat the conflict that we still deal with even in 2024. So thank you, Ms. Varwig, for that book and that opportunity. 2 more things. I was able to go to the Fine Arts Festival at Scott High School, and it was absolutely amazing. But really what impressed me the most was the participation of the people. There was a wonderful crowd that was there to celebrate and to acknowledge those great arts that were taking place as well. And Ms. Barnes was talking about the athletic side, and so I want to give a shout out to the Scott boys bowling team. which went to the States. I'm a little partial because even though my son doesn't work for TPS, he was training them at Miracle Lanes, getting them ready for it. And those boys were not bowlers. But he brought an excitement to them because he's a bowler, and they wanted to be a part of Scott's bowling team, and that was the result of it as well. So their record was wonderful. So again, we're just making a different type of impact all the way around. Finally, I want to say to our retirees who are not here, thank them for their service, but I particularly want to thank Mr. Dale Price. And I say that because both of my boys were students of his at TTA with math, and my son Caleb struggled with math, and Mr. Price took the time to really invest into him, and he really started to learn math in a whole different light. So I'm very appreciative of Mr. Price and all that he continues to do as well. Thank you. All right, now we will go to section 6, which is our consent agenda, items 6.01 through 6.1.
Bishop,
I'm sorry, yes.
we got one young lady here who came here with her father, who was just promoted at Start High School from the counseling or the teaching position to become a counselor.
Yeah.
Would you like to stand up and introduce yourself along with your father who came with you? Dad is a big-time athletic booster, so maybe we have to get him over to our side to get some money going.
Thank you so much and congratulations. Pleasure to meet you again. Thank you. All right, section 6 is our consent agenda. Agenda item 6.01 through 6.10 are the consent agenda items. 100 are the consent agenda items. Board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move to the discussion section of the agenda. We'll begin with items 6.01 through 6.06, which is our Human Resource Staff Development and Training Committee. Our chair, Polly Taylor Gherkin, our co-chair, Randall Parker III. Item 6.07 through 6.19 is our Finance and Business Operation Committee, Chair Bob Vasquez, co-chair Chris Varwick. Item 6.20, which is our Workforce Development and Partnership Committee. There are no action items this month. Our chair is Mr. Bob Vasquez, our co-chair, Mrs. Polly Taylor Gherkin. Board curriculum, item 6.21 to 6.22, which is our board curriculum, instruction, and academy excellence. Our chair is Mrs. Polly Taylor Gherkin, our co-chair, Mrs. Chris Varwig. Item 6.23 through 6.95 is our policy committee. Our chair is Ms. Sheena Barnes, our co-chair, Mr. Bob Vasquez. Item 6.96, which is Arts, Athletics, and Student Activity Committee. There are no action items this month. Our chair is Mrs. Chris Varwig. Our co-chair is Mr. Randall Parker III. Item 6.97 to 6.98 is Family and Community Engagement Committee. Our chair, Mr. Bob Vasquez. Our co-chair, Ms. Sheena Barnes. Item 6.99 to 6.100, approval of board meeting minutes. I would like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda items, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Gant, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Gherkin,
Yes.
Ms. Varwick,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes. We will now move to section 7 of the agenda, which consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are here for just informational and reference. No action is required, so now we can proceed to section 8 of the agenda, which is our discussion item 8.01, which is a resolution honoring Black History Month. Ms. Barnes, if you could, please read our resolution.
With pleasure, Mr. President. Resolution honoring Black History Month. Whereas the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District, the board, reaffirms in its recognition of February as Black History Month. And whereas the board continues to recognize that each student needs an opportunity to understand the common humanity underlying all people, to develop pride in his or her own identity and heritage, and to understand, respect, and accept the identity and heritage of others. And whereas the board condemns any policy or practices permitting race-based hair discrimination or the denial of opportunities based on an individual's hair texture or hairstyle, including braids, locks, twists, or bantu knots. And whereas the board continue to recognize and celebrate the value of diversity and the richness of cultural heritage within the city of Toledo and within the district, and the integral part each of our many communities play in the overall fabric of our history. And whereas the board further recognized that American history and Black history are forever inextricable linked, and both should continue to be taught and explored within Toledo Public Schools and throughout broader society. And whereas the board honors our forebears those who forged the path we now stand upon, those who have fought and preserved not only for a month celebrating Black history, not only for a school district representative in support of the communities it served, but for the tangible opportunities for African American students, families, educators, and the communities to succeed. And whereas the board reaffirms its commitment to appreciate, celebrate, and valuing its African American students and recognizing the importance of acknowledging the history, culture, and struggles of our African American community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District that Section 1, the board reaffirmed that Toledo Public School recognize February as Black History Month. And second, Section 2, the board maintains its commitment to educate Toledo Public School students about American history, which includes Black history. And Section 3, the board will continue to appreciate, celebrate, and value its African American students and community and acknowledge the history, culture, and struggles of our African American community. And Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effective form, and immediately after its adoption and shall supersede any prior resolution or act of this board which may be inconsistent or duplicative with the provisions of this resolution. And Section 5 is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in the meeting open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you so much, Ms. Barnes. I'd like to request a motion to approve the resolution honoring Black History Month.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
Once again, I want to uplift the importance of teaching American history. And when we're talking about American history, not only it includes Black history or African American history, it includes Asian American history, it includes LGBT history, it includes women history, and all of the other identities, because we have all contributed, our ancestors have all contributed to this land that was stolen, I'm gonna say it, and so we have to uplift history as the truth, and we have to teach that, or we're going to keep repeating the same harmful mistakes that some of our ancestors have done as we do so now. So I am so honored to not only represent but work with folks who understand the importance of teaching the truth, all the truth, even the ugly parts in our schools.
Thank you. And may we never compromise or negotiate celebrating the diversity, embracing all of our students, and giving them whatever their path is, high quality education. At this time, there's no more discussion. Mr. Gant, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Gerken?
Yes.
Ms. Varwick?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes. Section 9 is our walk-ins. Are there any walk-ins this evening? If none, then we can proceed to Section 10, which is our early childhood education items. There are none for this month. The chair is Randall Parker III, and our co-chair, Ms. Sheena Barnes. Section 11 of our agenda consists of early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are provided for your information and reference. There is no action that's required, so now we can proceed to Section 12, walk-ins. There are no walk-ins for this month. And so now we will go to Section 13, which is executive session. And so I would like to request a motion to enter into executive session in regards to conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Gant, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Gherkin?
Yes.
Ms. Varwick?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Bishop Parker?
Yes. We will now go into executive session, and so those of you who have been here and you do not want to stay for executive session, thank you so much for being with us this evening. to request a motion to reconvene from executive session.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Gant, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Gerken,
Yes.
Ms. Varwick,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Bishop Parker.
Yes. Section 14 through 16 is comments from our superintendent.
Yes, again, and if you get a chance, kudos to our team in challenging them on the school fair that we had. You know, like I told them, is look, I want to make sure that our board is proud about our representation. Mr. Vasquez works there on a daily basis. I want them knocking at his door saying TPS representing. They did just that. So we have a great team in regard to what they do. Another thing is that, again, today's press conference was big. Owen Community College coming to the campus as well as others. So every week, you know, I'm trying to fill out more and more partners and hold them financially accountable to build out the space that they're looking to be at that'll help mitigate our costs within Scott Park. But there's a lot of excitement around that. Individuals are getting very excited around it. And so, again, that's all happened through the support and leadership of this board. And then last but not least, Pastor Parker, Bishop Parker, you will appreciate this, but somebody sent me my championship.
Yes, sir.
It says every child needs a champion, and it has TPS Proud, the belt. So I'm going to get in contact with the gentleman and see if we can get more. And what we can do is figure out how we recognize teachers, go out, get them the belt, take pictures, just like you see in athletic. You know, if you get a turnover, you get a chain, and everybody gather around. So hopefully we can do that and celebrate the teachers on either a monthly or weekly basis, and then put that in the bridge as well as online. So great opportunity.
I definitely need one as well.
You know what, and just to piggyback off of that, President Parker, we talk about in athletics all the time about having something from the board recognizing all of our championship athletic programs, and maybe we do something like that.
I think that's amazing. Thank you so much, Superintendent. Mr. Gant, any comments?
Yeah, I got a comment. I actually had the pleasure to go to the COSBA event this past week, and Dr. Durant obviously did what he does, but one of the things that he says right in the beginning of that at his presentation is he could not do what the things that they were so much in love with without you guys as a board member in supporting him in that. And I spent a lot of time with with a couple of the board members, and I wanted to make sure that I reiterate that we cannot operate without the support of our board. And he makes sure he mentions that all the time. So I just want to make that note.
Thank you so much. Comments from the board? Mrs. Varwick?
Thank you. No, I've said enough tonight.
Mrs. Gerken?
I have nothing. Have a good evening.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I want to congratulate on behalf of the board the January and February 2024 graduates from Virtual Academy, Wait and Start, and then we have 3 graduates from the 22 years old and plus club. So congratulations to you all, and I hope you celebrate your big achievement. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez?
I have no further comments.
Thank you. Section 17, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Gant, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Gerken,
Yes.
Ms. Varwick,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Bishop Parker.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Have a great evening.